So good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining in. Vinay, would you like to give a quick opening remarks?
Yeah, thank you, Vijita. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. We are in the 11th edition of TiE Startup Showcase of this quarter alone. In the past, we have had a lot of deep tech entrepreneurs, investment leaders, and other thought leaders join us. So the format is very simple. We will have each of the presenter presenting for 7 to 10 minutes, followed by feedback. So in this session, we have Rajashri, we have Vinod, and we have Nimesh. I'll hand it over to Vijita and the startups to share what they do.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Vinay. Yes, episode 11, time flies. We're in the almost 3 months old into the year, not almost. We're going to be in 2 days' time into April 1st, and it's a new financial year. So what is this all about is it's about the startups, and definitely they know it's an opportunity for them to talk to the TiE Bangalore community. We are on Facebook Live. We'll be sharing this recording also on YouTube, and we want the world to know about the phenomenal innovations that the founders are doing. And of course, we also happen to have a investor, someone who's from the investment world, a good friend. We know this also here. And without wasting another moment, I will hand this over first to Rajeshri. Rajeshri, the show is yours. Introduce yourself, and we are all looking forward to listening to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Vijeta. Thank you, TiE Bangalore, for inviting me to this very interesting session today. A big hello to Nimesh and Vinod and to everyone watching this program now. I hope everyone is keeping safe and doing well. So let me introduce myself. I am Rajeshri Das, co-founder of Earthzy Technology Solution. We are a clean tech startup based in Bangalore. Basically, I'm a BTech graduate from NIT Durgapur with specialization in biotechnology. And I have more than 8 years of work experience in various industries, primarily been into the digital marketing side. And at Earthzy, I look after business growth, sales, marketing, and anything and everything in between, I would say. So that's about me. And my other founder, who is Rajdeep Das, he is actually a product of IIT Madras and NITI Mumbai. And he brings along more than 10 years of work experience, primarily in technology, manufacturing, and consulting. So together, if I go into the specifics and talk about what my startup does, I want to really ask a question to everyone. When we talk about waste management, what are the things that really come to your mind? If anyone has an answer, I think most of them would say probably recycling. And, like most of us think that recycling is actually the only way that, not the only way, but the majority of majorly that's one of the factors which is contributing to waste management. But, there are many other ways in which waste management can be done to bring efficiencies and in the waste management process. So talking about, like, we all have heard about the 3 R's of responsible waste management, right? Reduce, reuse, and recycle. So imagine, along with reducing your material and goods consumption, if you are able to reduce the volume of waste that you're generating. So actually our solutions help you achieve that. Okay, so like with our flagship product called Recyclobin, we are helping in the process of recycling by addressing the issue of waste volume reduction and segregation at source. So our solutions are completely patented, and we are using a patented compaction mechanism to achieve that. And primarily, if I say, our aim is to bring about profitability and sustainability into the entire existing waste management system. And efficiency wise also, there's a lot of efficiency that brings in the system.
Rajshri,
So I think, yeah.
Video is off, your presentation video. We don't see anything.
Oh, okay. Okay. Just a minute. Yeah. If like if everyone is comfortable, do you want me to share my screen as well? Will that?
Sure.
Yeah, just a second. I think this is a better way to explain. So sorry, I was not sharing my screen. So okay, let me just explain to you this way. So are you able to see my screen? Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yes, Rajshri.
Yeah.
It's clear. Go ahead.
Right. So if you look at my screen, you would see that there are basically these dustbins which are overflowing, and also the street side. So be it indoor or outdoor, this is a very common sight, right, in India that we see. And all of these end up here in landfills, in the water, and polluting all of these places. So, like if you see, why does it exactly happen? Right, so you would notice that ordinary dustbins actually they overflow in most of these places, or they need like frequent clearing. It creates an unhygienic atmosphere. Why does all of this happen? The primary reason behind all of this is the loose waste that is there, right? It occupies much more space than its actual volume. So fundamentally, if there was a way that we could reduce this waste volume, we could largely address this problem of waste volume, and we would reduce our the volume that is generated, and hence contribute to the efficiency in a very big way. Okay, so then and there's another factor to this as well. If you see, at least 60 to 70% of cost of waste management is spent on waste transportation alone. And imagine, like, there are so many other steps that is involved in waste management, like waste processing and all of that. If you're spending 60 to 70% of the cost in that logistics part alone, you're left with very less amount, right? Which is why this is not been profitable or a very sustainable process so far. And, and there are additional things that are coming across. Like along with this, the logistic part of it, you will need large number of collection trips, which again involves very high cost. Then this is primarily contributing to an unsustainable waste management practice, which again in turn is causing a lot of air pollution and landfill impact. Air pollution, because you would see that usually these collection trucks are very bulky, and whenever they are passing by in road or something, they create traffic congestion. So there is a tendency that all the other there's a traffic jams, and a lot of air pollution, emissions are coming out of other vehicles as well. So that is a way in which the air is also impacted, the environment is impacted, not just land, but as well as air. And landfill impact, obviously, because these are directly dumped into the landfill. So if you look at it, right, yeah, like I just mentioned, they are very bulky. I know they create increased traffic pollution. And waste processing, if you consider, after the waste is being created, that is also a very expensive process, because you are actually dealing with that step once the waste has already been generated. And then you will have to you would have seen, like, there are a lot of waste management services which they employ a lot of workers to manually process this waste, separate out and segregate. So that is actually a very, there's a very social stigmatic, I would say. Like it's actually a social stigma where you're expecting some human to do that, something which you would not touch with your hand, but you're expecting someone else to do. So that kind of a thing, it has a lot of implication, not just on the environment, but as well as this kind of implications as well. So that's there. And if you see from an environment perspective, you can see that per ton of waste that is generated, 5 to 5.2 kg of carbon emission, carbon dioxide emissions happen. So that's again a very, very big impact that you're leaving in the atmosphere. So that these are the two, like, these are major issues that we wanted to address. And we did years of research. Like we took more than like 3 years we spent in like finding out a solution, in doing prototyping, in actually design a product that will be feasible for the real world. So we took that much time, and then we finally created a product which could be useful for solving this problem. So our solution, primarily, this is a conceptual explanation to make you understand what it does. Our solution basically, it crushes the volume of waste in a similar manner that you see on the screen. It reduces the volume that way. And the direct impact that happens is the waste occupies much lesser space. Then it can hold much more waste. You're actually reducing the time and effort of the housekeeping team, because they would not need to clear as frequently as they were doing earlier. Then obviously, you're improving the cleanliness and all of that around in your surroundings. So if you see, a product is actually a smart replacement of ordinary bins. So typically one of our product is equivalent to 6 to 10 such bins that you see. Okay, so that actually brings about a lot of efficiency in your current waste management systems. So that's one thing. And then there are other technology wise, we have done a lot of improvements. So you will be able to not just the physical product, we also have an IoT, smart IoT solution, using which you'll be able to monitor remotely the garbage fill levels, when is it filling up, and then you'll be able to assign housekeeping team or clearance activities accordingly. So overall, the entire waste management processes are taken care, and using through these solutions we are trying to address that. So moving on, yeah, so you can see the three primary products that currently we are into. So one is a manual waste compactor bin, which does not require any electricity. So it's actually, it can be used even in places where there is no access to electricity. Then and it actually reduces, like, if you, for example, no matter what the weight or volume of the waste is, you will actually be able to reduce 6 to 10 times the volume by using our solution, this compactor bins. So this one runs without electricity, this one runs with electricity, but very less electricity. Again, we ensured that, our products are very energy efficient and did not consume much power. Otherwise, it doesn't serve the purpose. And then along with this, we have another range of solution, which is the remote monitoring software and sensors. So that is again, another solution that we've built. Uh, Primarily, if you see like the benefits of recycle bins, that like I mentioned, it's going to save you time, effort, cost, money. Health-wise, it's going to help you improve your cleanliness. It is going to, there's going to be no garbage spills. It'll ensure you much improved hygiene, especially with this coronavirus situation, right? Where, zero touch, we are looking at more and more automation and more automated products. So this kind of solution actually is very, very helpful. And nature wise, in the environment directly, you are going to reduce your landfill impact and emission, and you'll be positively contributing towards the sustainability initiatives. Okay. So currently our target market is actually, so currently we are operating in a B2B model, and very soon we will have the B2C, we'll also be directly serving our direct to the consumers. So that's about, I think in about 3 to 4 years time, we plan to do so. And yeah, so if you look at the target market right now, we are actually, we already have customers in these segments, and also we are every day receiving new inquiries and new interest from all of these areas, because waste management is a very, very pressing solution in all of these regions. So one way or the other, we are able to make an impact. So yeah, and just talking a little about us, we are a 2-year-old startup. We are founded in 2019. We are recognized by Startup India, Startup Karnataka, as well as MSME. And recently we have also launched our products on the GEM portal, because that's a government e-marketplace where we are directly selling to government customers. And primarily, if you see like the bigger vision that we have, we actually want to empower, like, if you see that in India, most of us consider that waste management, it's not my job, or you look at the dirty streets and say, hey, government is not doing anything. So while we understand that to a large extent it has to do with our attitude, but the underlying reason is that we believe that waste management recycling is a very time consuming or a very expensive process. So through our products, actually, we want to give that power to every common man, and empower them to contribute towards the health of our planet. So that is like a bigger plan, which is why, we are building these products. And although currently, like I said, we are operating in only the B2B model, but we plan to launch it directly for consumers as well. So yeah, that's part of the bigger plan. And yeah, this is our team currently. We are a small team, but again, we are growing every day. And with the scale of interest and everything that we are receiving in the market, we are in talks with various investors and various other customers, and we are very hopeful that we'll be scaling up soon. And so if I just say, why am I here? Why am I taking this session at all? Is for these. I really believe in the power of network, and I know that networking is one very big thing, and I'm very so I am very open to building new networks. And if there is anyone who feels that this solution might be of use to you, please feel free to reach out to me, or we can connect offline and we can discuss more, and we can see how can we help. And if there is anyone who who would like to mentor us, we are very open to mentorship as well. And definitely, like investment, like I said, we are also in talks with a couple of investors and who are showing interest in our solution, and we are open to that as well. So if anyone is willing to talk more about us, understand about us, and see if it's going to make sense for their business, we're definitely open to speaking and finding out. So yeah, I think that's about me, Vijeta. I think it was a very big introduction, but I'm open to taking questions and anything else that you guys would have. So yeah, over to you, Vijeta.
Thank you so much, Rajeshri. I think you did it very nicely with lots of confidence. It's a very wonderful aspect of life that you're focusing on because, as you said, it's about awareness, and we can't just blame the world. We also need to play a role, and technology that you're bringing in is beautiful. I would also like to get some inputs and feedback from everyone else. Vinod, Nimesh, Vinay, you guys also are, always talking to a lot of folks, and Shivi, all these things that waste management is so required today. So over to you guys as well. Vinod, would you like to give some input? She's also looking for investment. So how does she approach this in a smarter way?
Yeah, Vinod.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Sri, and thanks for that presentation. Thanks, Vijeta, for having me here. I hope you guys are able to hear me clearly.
Yes, we
Yeah.
are.
I think Rashi, I think it's an interesting presentation, and I was just thinking when you were saying, compacting waste, I was thinking, how do we actually do it in an everyday basis, right? And I kind of agree, we pay for the volume rather than for the weight in some sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which I think is very fundamental. I think that conceptually doesn't even come into our heads, and I think until you brought that explicitly out, right, it didn't even strike me. I would say. So I think it's what's so obvious, but it's not obvious in some sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's an interesting problem to tackle. I think what is interesting also at this juncture, right, that I sense a lot with a lot of investors also, right. There is a new wave of investors who are looking at, climate tech. This has caught attention not just in the West. I think even in India, it's starting to look. People are looking at, how do you solve for climate change. So I think there is a wave of new investors that would come, solving for climate change. That's already happening, very visibly in the US, and I think in India it will start happening. I think there's still an economy which kind of thinks of climate change or anything to do with problems related to that as slightly, okay, it's a social impact kind of a project or a social impact kind of company. And that I think is going to change now in the next couple of years to the next half a decade, right? I wouldn't be surprised if we have a climate fund focused, venture funds focused on climate alone. And that's happening, and that augurs well for companies like yours, and that's my sense of it, right? I think you should continue building it, and it will in the medium to long run, right, get a lot of opportunity to play with.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I think, definitely every point that you said makes complete sense. And I think the major part of it, like you mentioned, right, people think it's a social activity, it's a social impact. It's actually changed to that. Like, I'll just give you an example. We have been talking to very big corporates currently, like one of the biggest e-commerce players in India. They are actually looking at our solution to be installed to optimize the waste that they're generating in their premises, like within their office spaces or their cafeteria. You know why? Because currently they're using this small, say, 10-liter, 20-liter dustbins, and just with, say, 2-3 paper cups and plate, the entire dustbin gets full. And no one obviously really wants to touch the bin and, like, make space for extra, extra space to dump in some more. So I mean, they were telling that anything which is more efficient than that, if you can actually make these plates, paper cups and plates occupy the space, the least amount of space that they can, so that they can provide more space to write, I mean, that itself will bring in a lot of efficiency into the system. So I'm saying, like, it's no longer like, that it is only a social impact kind of a thing, that waste management, oh, okay, it's not really my business. It's not really that thing anymore. And we are generating waste everywhere. So I think it's each and everyone's responsibility to, do something about it. So let's
Absolutely,
see.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Well, I think it just has to
yeah,
seep into our mind, just like,
yeah,
and that it
yeah,
is our responsibility. Then it becomes everybody's problem,
exactly.
and then we find the solution. And that, I think,
Yeah,
practically, I have the sense there's a lot of
yeah,
financial upside also that will happen in the climate change. Frankly
yeah.
speaking.
Yeah. Actually, Vijeta, if you say, our vision is that, such kind of, we are going to replace all regular dustbins that you see everywhere. Like, for example, when we talk about the consumer space, right, we are thinking of even those lines when we launch. You would have a recycle bin installed in your house, and you would actually be telling Alexa, hey, Alexa, run the compactor, and then it's going to work. So, like, all of those kind of smart features, which is going to empower you, it's going to be at that level. So, we are looking at this in a big way, and we are very sure with the kind of, even actually although we launched our startup in 2019, we did our commercial operations only last year. But the amount of interest in the market that we've received even during the pandemic time, it makes us understand that there is such a big need out there, and we just want to solve that problem for everyone. And that's the mission that we are running towards, and we hope to receive support from all of you and even everyone watching this program right now. So yeah, so that's what we are looking at.
Do you also handle wet waste? Is a question that has come in, Rajshri.
Yes, it works with both dry and wet. Any kind of waste, typically paper waste, plastic waste, food waste. And so
Perfect,
there is,
perfect.
yeah,
So
so
what you do
there's
is,
Mhm.
Rajshri, just
Yeah,
share what are this presentation you have and other details. Just
sure.
put it on the chat as well, so everyone knows about it. Okay.
Okay, great, yeah,
Also,
sure. Yeah.
So
just
we can move. Yeah, we can move to the next person also. But
Yes.
also, Rajshri, you can share things on chat. People have questions, you can reply to them.
Sure. I'll do that, Shivik. Yeah, sure.
okay. So great, Rajshri, and hang on till the end. All right.
Recently, we did a great post on.
Okay. Can we now get Nimish online? Nimish, yeah, go for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
I'll just share my screen. I'll just have a quick, small 2-minute video, and then I will just, showcase a quick deck and a demo. And
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Can you all can hear the video once?
Hi, my name is Samiran Gold.
Yes,
I head
we can
product
hear.
development and innovation for Rockmetric. Rockmetric is a next-gen no-code big data analytics tool for end users. Business leaders have tons of meetings, and you have senior people coming in. If you're looking at national profitability numbers, now the CEO says that, can you now break that up to me by product? And then he says, okay, now I want it by distributor. Can you now swing that around and give me a customer profile and say, who's actually buying these products? Who are my best performing dealers? And somewhere in the middle of this flurry of questions, the teams that are sitting in that room, they need to kind of go and work on this information and come back. Rockmetric is specifically built to solve this problem, bringing ad hoc analytical ability into the hands of regular users so that decisions can be made in the meeting that you're in, so that it provides a ton of productivity as well as sharpness in decision making. The biggest benefit for this is obviously saving time and speed of decision making. The CEO's office typically has got a huge team of people. They are able to get the right priority, and people will go and work days and nights and get back with the information. But now think about this decision making problem across the enterprise. Using Rockmetric, anybody and everybody is empowered to make these decisions wherever they are in the organization. So irrespective of the priority you enjoy, you can have the same information at your fingertips to make decisions. If you're at the head of a division, if you're the head of a business, if you're just running one dealership, or if you're just the salesman looking for information about how you are doing versus other people, you can gamify this. So all of that contributes to the entire package of why Rockmetric is such a powerful platform for decision making for all users. We are able to run our queries on huge data sets, and it's a pretty much no code platform, so it doesn't really need SQL education. So you can then and there get to the last granularity of the data and give the answer as is required in that meeting.
So there's a quick video about us. I'll just take everyone through a couple of slides, and maybe then take a Q&A. So the broad, we are around a 5-year-old company, started in 2015, completely bootstrapped. We're a 25-member team right now, and based out of Bombay. And clientele includes SBI General Insurance, ICICI Lombard, RBL, Experian, Eureka Forbes. These are some of the customers that we work with, and we collaborate with the top cloud providers and consulting firms to serve our customer base, basically. So the broad idea was that, we have the world's information at our fingertips through a Google search. Can business users get access to their own data through a simple application? And what that means is the entire complex approach of, getting a unified view, being able to ask anything, get automated insights like any recommendation system gives you insights, and being able to access the data. So currently, the existing BI tools are extremely complex, where the process is very cumbersome. And most senior leaders, have to end up their meetings with a response that I will get back to you. And depending on your seniority within the organization, that could be hours, days, and even sometimes weeks. So with Rockmetric, the idea is that you can't train the entire world to become data scientists and data analysts or statisticians. And if the data volumes are rising, the tools will have to become simpler for business users to access data. So to give you an example, some of the popular BI tools today, some of them handle only 16 to 50 columns, and others, the premium version can handle only 3 GB of size of the table. So like in Excel, you can only handle 10 lakh rows, and you have to have something bigger, to handle larger amount of data. Rockmetric solves that specific problem, where business users without learning SQL or Python are able to, analyze huge data sets, could be 100 GB in size. And from a market perspective, traditionally, business users who wanted high independence and data volume was low would use spreadsheets. Then the BI tools came in, where you can talk to a data analyst or a BI analyst to develop dashboards for you, which will be pre-built in nature. And then you have reporting tools, which your MIS team or IT will trigger over email. Then you had data scientists or analysts, like we say, who use Python and SQL and other tools to generate analysis and insights. And Rockmetric is here where a business user wants to do their job themselves, where they want to do fraud analytics, customer insights, normal analysis and insights with their domain expertise, but they don't want to learn complex tools and technologies. So, Rockmetric helps business users into 4 category of tools which they would use otherwise. The BI tools for the visualization layer, then the insights layer where the business analyst works on Excel, then the data exploration where they use tools like SQL or SAS to get granular insights, and then going to the data scientists for advanced analytics. So Rockmetric is trying to make sure that this entire workflow is available to a business user without them having to, expand their expensive support teams. And from an architecture perspective, it simplifies a lot for the technology teams. Instead of having multiple layers of aggregation and different tools with different versions of data, with Rockmetric, we can directly, sit on top of your lake or a warehouse, and a business user can start asking questions through a natural language search. And lastly, it's a very comprehensive platform. So what that means is that it has its own, compute engine. It has a mini mart house so that you don't have to set up a departmental data warehouse. It connects to your data. It has built-in storage and a column store engine. It gives you role-based security for users. And it has all these 4 modules for which you require 3 different tools built in and extremely easy to use. And these are some of the use cases, where we work with the industry, largely stuff which is dynamic in nature. So sales analytics, branch monitoring, fraud, portfolio, liquidity, procurement, anything where there's a lot more dynamism required in data analysis, that's where Rockmetric comes in. Happy to take questions at this stage, and maybe then, I can show a few demo once the questions come in also. So that's it from my side from a deck perspective. happy to take inputs, and then maybe I'll just showcase some live demo based on the questions.
Yeah, Nimish,
Ramesh,
Vinod here.
Vinod, over to you.
Yeah, Nimish, curious, how much time does it take for you to deploy, if a customer wants this typically?
So it could go on from anywhere from 3 days to 3 months also. So it depends on use cases. But if it's a single table which they need to just built in, you could be up in a few hours basically. But usually with enterprises, the most time goes in getting their IT to get data connectors and everything sorted out. So the first deployment is time consuming, like with most IT. But over a period of time, the advantage is that you don't have to keep repeatedly making ad hoc reports like you spend time in others. So what we do is we create like a massive pivot table, which requires a one-time effort, but then you don't have to manage sub reports and sub tables and charts and everything that the machine generates automatically. So that saves a lot of subsequent effort.
And are you a SaaS model, or you charge basis services based model?
So right now we charge platform subscription fee on an annual basis, and we charge for support and implementation. We do for some customers, and now we've started getting partners like NSC IT amongst others, who then become a system integrators and deploy within enterprises. So both model, but the overall plan is to step out of implementation, just have a good cohort of customers so that we can we learn and help our partners better. So we'll have a smallish unit which keeps doing it so that we learn, but otherwise implementation will be passed on to the partners eventually.
Got it. Thanks, Nimish. I think you have a bunch of questions on the chat window. You could probably answer them.
Yeah, so Manjusha is asking, so yeah, we are largely focused on BFSI and consumer goods right now, because it's much easier to, like, we didn't want to fight the battle of explaining people why data is important. So we've focused on basically working with customers who understand. So most of our customers would have already used the BI tool like a Tableau, ClickView, Power BI, SAS. They would have faced an issue with them. And then when we go to present, they understand what we are selling to them. So it saves us a lot of effort. So hence we largely go to mature BFSI, banking, insurance, mutual funds, consumer goods, and some of the large conglomerates in manufacturing. So that's what our focus area is. Which sector are most of BFSI 70-80%, largely because we are from Bombay, and because BFSI also has an outward facing innovation teams which scout for younger companies, and openness is a little bit more. The next question is, do you get process improvement insights from it when you drive automation? Yes, we can. I will just show you one. Jekant has asked a question. I'll just show one quick demo there. You all can see my screen, right? So if you have a large database at the back end, I can, for example, ask a question that I want to see my trend of sales for 2018 and press enter. The system will go hit the database, extract the data, aggregate it, create a chart, and give me an output. And now I want to understand why this spike happened. I just have to click this button called Automated Insights, and the system will automatically generate insights and analysis for me. Now, this simple activity, if you would have given it to our analyst team, they would take anywhere from a few hours to a day. But, something as simple as this can be answered pretty quickly.
Nimish, are you sharing your screen?
Oh, sorry. One second. I'll just do it again. Yeah. So I'll just... so you can ask a question like, trend of sales for 2018 on your screen. And the system will automatically generate a chart like this. And if you want to generate insights, just click on auto analysis. And the system will quickly respond with insights and analysis. Right. I will just take the next question. The next question was which sectors, Power BI from MS or similar? How is it? Subramaniam, right? So what we usually is that we go to customers where a pre-built BI tool is generally not sufficient. So all our customers, it's easier for us to sell to customers who are already using a Power BI, Tableau or ClickView. Because, for example, a Power BI premium version can handle a 3 GB cube at max. And if they have to deal with a larger data volume, the architecture is complex, and they create a licenses are expensive. Here, every user can analyze their data. So we generally by design have to sell to customers who already have these BI tools and are looking for something more. So we are not the cheaper, we are obviously price competitive, but we are not a cheaper visualization tool. How we explain it to customers is that a visualization tool is useful to automate workflows of a PowerPoint presentation, where you already know what you want to present and you present it in a sequence with a few filters. But if you're looking for a replacement for ad hoc exploration of pivot tables on Excel, then Rockmetric is your go-to tool for that scenario. And even today, like 70-80% of the workflows are happening on Excel spreadsheets or through SQL reports. So we are going after that market. We believe that will be 4 to 5 times larger than the current market for pre-built dashboarding tools. Right? Is the solution on-prem or cloud? How is so we are both on-premise as well as cloud, Ruben. And like I mentioned, we're working with India's largest general insurance private as well as public sector company. We're working with a bureau. We're working with a private bank. In the past, we've worked with MNCs like HSBC, and we've gone through innovation programs for Barclays, SocGen, Fidelity. So the product is that way, quite hardened and focused on security. And we've also gone through, partnership programs for Google as well as Microsoft Azure. And we've also, so NSCIT is also a system integrator for one of the large general insurance companies. So we've gone through that whole hog of, making sure that we don't face any issues with data security across sectors. Indian Defense. In the last 1 year of operation, we have sold to Indian Defense. So size limit, usually our focus, Pranam, is that anything more than what a BI or Excel can handle, and anything less than where you may need a data scientist or Hadoop to operate. So our boundaries, that our focus area is that a business user who's smart enough for analyzing data should not have to learn SQL or Python to do the data exploration. So typically the range will be from a 1 to 2 GB table to basically a 250 to 500 GB kind of a single table for query by a business users. And that limit, our experience has been, is sufficient. And it is almost 20 to 30 times of what they're able to.
Is Nimish frozen or am I okay?
Is it only me or Vijita? I've lost.
No, I'm there. No, Vinod, I'm here. Nimish got stuck, I think. Nimish, you're back. You were offline for a second.
Yeah, no, I was quiet actually.
Oh, okay.
I was like, any questions, happy to answer basic.
All right. No worries, Nimish. You stay online and let's see what happens. And also now, Vinod, I would like you to get in and quickly talk about Java Capital and how's the journey, what's happening in the startup ecosystem. I think a lot of people are interested to know that, Vinod. So go for it.
Yo, thanks Vijita, and Vinay and Thai team for having me here today. Before I jump into what Java Capital is, I'll just give a brief introduction about me. I've been in the startup and the venture ecosystem for the last 15 years. I've worked with a bunch of startups, both in technology and business development. One of the first ones that I worked with was called Immuse, which got acquired by Sequoia KKR. Then I joined another startup at NSRCL incubation cell called JustBooks. I spent another 5 years doing business development marketing. And I also started angel investing, since 2014. And I've invested in a bunch of companies such as Daily Ninja, which got acquired by Big Basket, and Trell. These are some of the well-known ones, and some investments also in the US market largely. And post that, I also was part of Kalari Capital full-time for about 3.5 years. And I was managing the seed arm of Kalari called K-Start Capital. Invested in about 16 to 18 companies at K-Start at various stages. Some of the well-known ones you would see is Winzo, Sciencey, Vernacular, which you would have heard in the market, doing well. 10 out of those 18 companies have already raised their Series A's and Series B's. And that's my past. And coming to Java Capital. So Java Capital is a pre-seed stage and seed stage investment syndicate currently. We hope to have a fund in hopefully in the next couple of quarters, that's potentially possible. And we invest anywhere between about $150,000 to $250,000, with the valuation sweet spot being anywhere between $2 million to $3 million, and that's where Java typically invests. And what are sectors that Java typically invests in? Java invests in, I would say we are almost sector agnostic, but there are certain themes and sectors that like we're pretty much focused on. I'll run you through that. One of them is business software, we call it as, which includes SaaS, your SME software, or any enterprise software, for that matter. That's business software. 2 is healthcare. 3 is financial technologies and fintech startups. 4 is we look at both consumer internet and consumer brands closely. And lastly, deep technology companies that we invest in. And since we've started, we've invested, or let's say we've committed to invest in like 12 companies. We've already, completed paperwork for about 7 companies. Not all of them announced publicly yet. What you see on our website, we've kind of invested in companies like ePlane, which is building an electric electric plane taxi. That's what we call it as. That's like a moonshot. So we are, gung-ho on investing in, deep technologies, that dramatically changes the world in some sense, in the long run. And we also invested in other companies that you'd see on our website, like Codingle, which recently was part of YC, and Custom Fit, which is one of our first investments, in the SaaS space. And we are quite aggressive. Reason that we are aggressive also is that, the market is also pretty, I would say, buoyant. And the number of startups that we are seeing today over the last 12 months has been like unbelievable in terms of numbers that that's happening, and also the quality of the startups that significantly changed or improved. There could be various factors for that, but we are seeing like a great quality of deal flow that's happening. And this year we hope to invest in about 15 to 20 more companies at Java at the same sweet spot that I mentioned. $150,000 to $250,000, $2 to $3 million kind of valuations. And what's happening in the ecosystem that's noticeable is that there's a lot more quality of founders that's kind of gone up. I think that's also functioned because we are seeing the second generation, third generation of founders who kind of been in the startup ecosystem over the last decade, and that repeat founders and and the experience which has been passed on, right, has created a very high quality set of founders. And also there's a lot more investment that's kind of available. One of the simple maths that I keep telling is in terms of venture capital firms, right, we have probably 250 to 300 venture capital firms in India currently. And in terms of angel investors, compared to 2010 rough benchmark I'm putting there, in terms of angel investors, right, we would have had like maybe 800 angel investors in 2010, 2011. And today we have like nearly 10,000 angel investors. And that shows, right, look, capital is available for quality startups and there is no dearth of capital. Frankly speaking, capital is chasing good founders. That's what it's kind of, come to today. Capital at some sense is almost a commodity. So for us at Java Capital also, right, we'll have to work hard and differentiate ourselves, saying, why does a founder need to take money from us? And, and that's something, why am I here today is also for that, right? In a sense, say what Java Capital is, beyond capital. And that's the current state of the ecosystem. And it's absolutely great, if you ask me. And I only see great opportunity over the next decade. And I think we are all in a place of abundance, if you call. And at that, tipping point is probably we've passed the tipping point, but we are at like point of abundance. And the next decade plus, I think, you'll see a dominance of, startup companies. And today, Nazara, one of the tech gaming companies, got listed in the market. You would have seen that. And the boom is just getting started. You want to be party to it and, take some benefit out of it. And that's what all of us are here at some level also, right? To help each other and, see how all of us can prosper. That's about it, Vijita. I'm happy to answer any specific questions. I will also tell you one other thing about Java Capital is, look, we take kind of pride in, helping founders even if they reach out to us in cold. So you could write to us at hello@javacapital.com, and most mails will get to responded in like 14 to 20 days. Have that little bit of patience, but we do go through all the emails, that goes to Java, hello@javacapital.co. And you could shoot me also an email. I will leave my email also, vinod@javacapital.co. And if you have a pitch and you want to, talk about your company, you can email it to hello@javacapital.co. Yeah. And we have funded 2 companies which come through cold emails. I don't know how many people do that, but that's something that, we really want to put out there.
Thank you so much, Vinod. That's very kind of you. You also are belonging to the ecosystem, and you have done a lot of work for the community. Plus, you have got an entrepreneurial background. You have been through your situations, which I think will resonate with a lot of people when you talk about that. So
Yeah.
what we'll do now is, thank you guys, and Vinay, we'll now to run the poll as well, because we really want to get feedback. We want to do more. And all the people out here who are listening in, TiE members, we want to give you a priority. We're doing more and more of these showcases. So please write into Shivi, me, Vinay, and we'll help you guys out. And now I would just like to bring Vinay. Oh yeah, Vinay, you'd like to say something?
Yes. Hi guys. Very compelling presentations and great to have a really good crowd, which is very interactive. So at TiE, we would like to gather your inputs on what we should be doing for the next few weeks and months. The leaders at TiE, Vijita, Madan, and the other leaders at TiE do have some plans in mind. But what they would like you to do is to share your feedback on what kind of sessions would you like next. Would you like to connect to mentors, investors, corporates, legal, finance, go-to-market, or any other inputs that you may have. So just click on this link that we have. I think if you look at my background, you would see the link as well, right? And when you click that, you can just give your quick inputs. You may need to add your email because we need to know who's giving those inputs. And based on that, we would be able to make those moves for you. Because every Wednesday we're going to have interesting sessions, and based on that, we will be able to connect you to. We also have a few other events that are happening. We have our annual TiE IoT Day, a deep tech conference, where we're going to give you opportunities to present yourselves to corporate investors, all of that. So the links will be shared. We'll send you emails on how you can participate in that. Along with that, we have a lot of learning and development sessions in 5G, in electric vehicles, healthcare, defense, and space as well this time. So are you guys able to click on the link? So you can share your inputs on the link. And Vijita will also share a little more about what we would like to, how best we could help you at TiE. So we have things like, about the session, about, what, where you'd like help from, your other inputs, as well as, a bit about your profile, have you been a TiE member in the past? Have you been a TiE Charter member? Are you a founder, an ecosystem enabler? Which of these sessions would you like to attend next? One of the sessions that people shared was sessions on founder resilience. Is that something that you'd like to get into, where how do we make ourselves really tough internally? So that's something that we have leaders in our ecosystem, in our TiE network, who can help you with.
And Vinay, please share on your screen and also hear about the IoT Day that's coming up on 10th April. We must get people there. Vinod, this is focused on IoT, just to let you know. So it's around 5G, it's around telecom and space tech. We're putting together a very, very nice panel. And there will be some leadership talks from people like Dilip Mangsuli, who's from Siemens Healthineers, and Dr. Lakshmi from Derby Foundation. So, we'll share more information around that. See, the more you guys take part, spread the word, that's good for the entire community. Because the only reason why Vinod, who of course is a very, very dear friend for many, many, many years, but that's not the point. He's coming here because he's part of the ecosystem and he wants to give back. And he's definitely looking for startups. The founders here, like Nimesh and Rajeshri, who did such beautiful presentations. We want to do more, but we need more love and support from the community and from the founders, guys. We can't do this alone. Okay. And Shivi, if you're also online, I'm not too sure. Has she gone offline?
No, she's Shivi's
I'm here.
Yeah. Shivi, also, I want you guys to talk about this Young Turks Thai member council that we're putting in, 20 to 30-year-olds. We know this will be of interest to you also. That we are looking at Thai associate members between the age of 20 to 30 who are co-founders. And we want them to be a sounding board for the ecosystem where we can help them more and also get the voice out for the entire ecosystem. So Shivi, Vinay, you guys would like to talk about more, and Vinod, what else can we do? Want to hear more from you also, buddy, please.
Thanks, Vijeta. Shivi, you wanted to talk something?
No, please, you start and I'll cover it then.
Yeah. Vijeta, again, thanks. I think, look, I'm happy to do whatever that's, wherever I could do, right? I'm like, I told Vinay, right, anything that I could do, I'm happy to do that. We are also trying to educate the ecosystem as much as possible, by running at our end, investor courses, for example, right? We're trying to do that at our end. When it comes to that, trying to make sure people who are investing in startups also get educated and well informed, so that founders also work with well informed angel investors, for example, right? I'm happy to share more details if people are interested there. And in terms of startups, right? I think I keep all my lines open, Vijeta, for anybody who wants to write to us, right? As I said earlier, and that's one of the ways. Just want to remove that. That your inability to open doors, right? That should not be a constraint for any founder. The doors are open. You don't need to go knocking around. Our emails, our profiles. You want to write to us, it's always open, and that's one of the things that we want to make sure that it's available for all founders or any collaboration for that matter, right? For people who want to write to us. And if there's any interesting collaborations that you want to talk about with us, we are happy to look at that also. Vinay, Vijeta, thank you. Yeah.
Vinod, I've taken your offer and have sent across 3 deals. So just make sure.
Yeah, just my email or Hello's email, Nimesh. We will get back in 14 to 20 days, I assure you.
Yeah. In fact, people like Jagat are doing really good stuff in the weekends where founders get together. I see he's put a message, founder matrimony. How do you create teams, build teams? Yeah. I saw some of the feedback that we just got. I see most people want sessions on investments, on mentors, corporates, and go-to-market.
Look, Vijeta, I can offer to do one thing. I did this for the women's in March, right? I offered a course for angel investors for women only because, we didn't have enough people in our own system. I have like 40, 50, 60 investors. There's not a single woman, right? So we offered that. And we kind of, can collaborate and offer that to do that. If people want to learn about anything specifically, for example, startups want to do term sheets, right? I can do a session on term sheets for founders. Absolutely. I did that on Clubhouse also, along with my partner. Happy to do that so that, I could, do on valuation. I actually spoke about valuation for another panel. I could talk about valuations. We could talk about term sheets. We kind of doing this everywhere. I'm happy to, add to this also. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks, Vinod. I think even I'm a founder of 1,000+ entrepreneurs and work with Thai Bangalore as well. So even I kind of run a community of female change makers. Anybody from tier 2 cities and lower. I think women in these kind of cities face a lot of problem when it comes to studies and getting out. So trying to motivate them, how to motivate their parents to let them study and go outside, and even start entrepreneurship, right? So a lot of women face when they have a good idea, still they can't start because of the family pressures and all. Coming to the young entrepreneurs, so at TIE we want to create a community of young entrepreneurs, anybody from the age of 20 to 30, because we think they have a lot of energy, they have a lot of great ideas, and they understand the market problems very well. So if we can come together and kind of address those problems, that will be good. So as Jagat is doing a lot of startup Sundays on the weekends, then corporate matchmakings, all these things, they can highly contribute to the community. So anybody who is interested, we'll send the links in the chat window. Do write to us if you're interested, and let us know how would you like to contribute or any ask from us. That will be like amazing.
Yeah, perfect. And also what we can also do, guys, see, we also have the TYE program, which is for students. We would like to encourage them to do that. Vinod, we will take up your very kind offer about term sheets and anything else that you think we should be doing. And Vinay, we should talk about, help people to attend this IoT day and the next round of startup showcases. Because I think we're going to do this at least once in 15 days. Vinod is what we're planning to do. And we want to get investors also involved in this. And if you suggest someone else that we should be talking to, happy to do that also. Okay. And where are the two founders? Don't hide, guys. Rajshri and
No, we are here only.
You're very much here, Vijay.
So what is your final ask? Because it's now 4:55.
Yeah.
So your final thoughts, guys, please.
Yeah. So from my end, happy to get as many customers as possible. So if there are startups or portfolio companies for investors who would like to try the product out, we'll be more than happy to, give them for free or a discounted rate. But more than anything else, if any of the corporates or, I do a lot of workshops on analytics and AI here for Barclays and others, I'll be happy to do that for TiE members also. So wherever people would like to use or would want feedback or inputs, happy to share this.
Okay. From my end, I first of all want to really extend thanks to the entire TiE team for bringing along this together and considering me to attend this session. This is probably the first session that I've attended as a startup founder. So we intend to do a lot more such kind of things and stay connected with TiE and collaborate on other sessions as well. And I mean, asking for what other than investment, I think if there is, like, since we are all part of a community, right, like you mentioned, we are also looking in scaling up. And if you guys have any connects in your circle who you think would benefit from our solution of waste compaction, and please feel free to connect with me, get in touch, and we'll love to have a discussion offline and see what need to be done. And special note to Vinod, I know that Java Capital at this point in time may not be really investing in green tech and clean tech space, but please feel free to spread a word in your circle. And if you could help us connect with the right investors and people who you think would benefit from the solution, please do that. So yeah, that's about from my end. Yeah, that's about from my end.
Sure, Rajshri. I have got my email. Please do write to me. I'm happy to connect.
Yes,
with the relevant investors. Absolutely.
Definitely, Vinod. Definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks to Vijeta. Any founders here? Keep an eye out on any activities. And as I said to Vijeta, I would do a session on term sheet for all. Whenever Vijeta organizes that, right, I'm happy to do that, and talk about how to go about term sheets for founders. And thanks for the opportunity. Anybody wants to talk to us, feel free to write to us, at hello@javacapital.com.
Perfect. And also, if any founder, Shivi and Vinay, right now, very quickly, okay, I think I see quite a few other founders around here. If anyone wants to come in and quickly say hi for 30 seconds, please do that. I see Jagat is here. I see a few other folks. Whoever wants to raise hand, just say hi, okay? Very, very short, crisp. And this is for founders only, okay? We just want to focus on founders today. Whoever wants to come and say hi for 30 seconds.
Megha Mishra is there.
Yeah. Just if you don't mind, Vinay, Shivi, can you help out in that, please?
Just a second.
Yeah. Just
hi,
raise your hand. Yeah.
Hello.
You can start your video as well, Megha.
Video I'm having is just a bad hair day.
No issues. Please.
Okay. So I'm Megha Mishra. I'm the founding team member for WeLearnLive.com. We actually cater to the learning requirements of kids and also the right-wing activities for for employees. We're connected with a lot of premium organizations who provide employee engagement and employee learning activities. And Shivi, I was very interested because we're also expanding in the tier 2, tier 3 markets. So if you have any specific requirement for your women folks who want to do, learning online, because obviously offline is a challenge. Like you said, there are hurdles. So I can actually work with you on that. And also with the other startups, we can engage in terms of getting, sharing our offers, our product offerings to them, because it's essentially for learning.
Thanks, Megha. Anybody else who would like to? Please share your details in the link, the chat window about your LinkedIn profile and everything. Anybody else who would like to share about the startup? One last startup. Jagat, would you like to? Cool. I'll just give you permission, Jagat. Hey, Jagat.
Put my video on. All right. Thank you. Thanks. Hi, TiE team, and very, very good evening to everybody. My name is Jagat. Run a company called Vidphone. We're a virtual work platform, right? Remote work. Really wonderful session. Again, thanks to Vijeta, Vinay, and everybody. Hi, Vinod. Happy to say hi, and hi to the community. I think all of us are looking forward to 2 days from now, 1st of April. Let's have a wonderful financial year. That's what I want to tell everybody. And, would love to connect. Vidphone.me, sign up and attend our community events.
Thanks, Jagat. Good to see you all.
Likewise. Thank you so much, guys, for the opportunity. My LinkedIn's there, and feel free to.
And some of these sessions for the community that Jagat's running, Startup Sunday, etc., they're really nice. And, look, we try to do as much as we can for the founders and for the ecosystem. That's all we care about. But thank you, Jagat, and all the very best with everything, man.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Take care.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, it's 5:01. So if it's good with everyone to close down, we can do that. Any last comments, please?
Thank you. Bye-bye, Vijita. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care. And see you guys soon.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Rajeshri. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks
Cheers.
so much.